We are Harvard. You, me,
and the entire alumni community across the globe.
From our first days on campus
to the lives we shaped since.
We bring Harvard with us wherever we go.
And it's our community's deep dedication and commitment now and through the centuries
that has made Harvard what it is today.
Our impact in the world is far-reaching.
From those of us who are teachers, who are nonprofit leaders and community organizers, who have been working on the front lines,
to those of us leading companies, cities, and countries, from artists to scientists.
Together, our collective impact changes the world.
At Harvard, we strive to make sure all members of our community feel like they belong.
We support and mentor current and prospective students.
We give back by sharing time and knowledge to help make Harvard the best it can be.
We are the very heart and foundation of the Harvard community.
Just like the alumni who came before us.
So today, we're here to celebrate our community.
No matter where you live and no matter which Harvard school you graduated from.
Today, we gather together as one Harvard family.
400,000 strong.
Whether you are in Istanbul
or anywhere else,
we are so glad you're here.
Welcome to the annual meeting of the Harvard Alumni Association.
حياكم الله في ملتقى هارفارد السنوي.
Καλώς ήρθατε στην ετήσια συνάντηση του Συνδέσμου Αποφύτων του Harvard.
Kushe Ekabo Una, welcome. Now we Harvard Alumni Association annual meeting.
Harvard Mezunlar Derneği'nin yıllık toplantısına hoş geldiniz.
Bienvenidos a la reunión anual del Harvard Alumni Association.
Karibu kwenye mkutano wa kila mwaka wa muungano wa wanafunzi waliofuzu chuo cha Harvard.
Selamat datang ke Mesyuarat Tahunan Harvard Alumni Association.
Enquanto namat pachu, baganagaan ustan, galatoma.
Bienvenue à la réunion annuelle de Harvard Alumni Association.
Hello from India.
Halo, apa kabar?
Hola.
Hello from Jakarta. Mo ń kí gbogbo yín láti ìlú Piscataway ní ìpínlẹ̀ New Jersey.
Namaste from Bengaluru.
Greetings from London.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh from Hudson Valley, New York. Hola a todos. Welcome to Peru.
Hola. Saludos a todos.
Marhaba, Stockholm.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you.
Welcome to the 151st annual meeting of the Harvard Alumni Association pre-show. My name is Anurima Bhargava, and I was elected by the Harvard College class of 1996, celebrating our 25th reunion, to be this year's Chief Marshal of Alumni. I am so honored to serve in this role and happy to be part of this year's celebration, to honor you, our Harvard alumni. If we were together in Harvard Yard, I would be waving this baton right now and leading us all in the annual alumni parade. Today, we're going to honor this tradition a bit differently. I will lead us as we march virtually through this joyous pre-show that will highlight the Harvard alumni community, encompassing Harvard College and 11 graduate and professional schools. Our march will extend from my hometown of Chicago, where I am today, to countless countries across the globe. Every day, our alumni community, 400,000 plus strong, makes a profound difference and impact in our local communities and the world. On this day, we celebrate you.
We've invited 8 ninth graders from Highline School District in Washington to come and visit the college and the rest of Harvard University, have a chance to learn a bit more about college and the opportunities available to them.
As a mentor, I'm paired up with one of the Crimson Achievement Program scholars, and my job is to guide them for this year and beyond. What's interesting about these students is they're mostly first gen, and so this is their first opportunity to be able to see an amazing opportunity like this.
Give your from a district where the majority of students go to college, that's kind of an expectation. You can kind of just go with the flow.
What would it have been like if my parents didn't go to college?
It's not as obvious, it's not as clear.
And I feel like this mentorship program is like being that older sibling or that guiding parent for students who don't have any of that.
A few years ago, I went to my first tech conference, and it was so exciting and energizing and innovative. I knew then I had to do something to democratize opportunity for today's young men of color. And so I founded All-Star Code.
All-Star Code's mission is to create the next generation of tech leaders. And we're doing that by closing the opportunity gap between young men of color and the tech industry.
Welcome to the All-Star Code Summer Intensive.
So to get this up, well, we know we're going to use a for loop, correct? What variable should I use for the for loop? What's a good variable?
Best-in-class computer science instruction, industry exposure, mentorships, college guidance, internship placement, and leadership training, which supports their learning, their growth, and their overall success.
I live literally 2 blocks from where Dr. King was assassinated from the National Civil Rights Museum. I just was very frustrated with the fact that we have so many young people who have these big dreams but don't necessarily have the access or the tools to get to where they want to be. And so we started the collective to really build pathways to social mobility and to make sure that our young adults crystallize those dreams, but then also the tools and the resources to actually make those dreams come true. We have a community dinner, and at our community dinners, each young adult comes with their professional mentors, and those pairs come to the dinners for programming. And so it's a great interactive opportunity for young adults to share their questions, share their scenarios, get advice on things that they're really facing, because for many of our young adults, this is their first employment opportunity in their field. And so we really want to make sure that they're both prepared and have the support that they need to thrive.
One of the wonderful things about poetry is that it doesn't necessitate that you have to have the answers. And I think when I teach it, I try to emphasize that like poetry is a means of asking yourself about the world and why the world exists the way that it does, and why and how you are positioned in the world in the way that you are. And that at the end of the poem, you don't have to have an answer to that question. And you might potentially have more questions than you did when you started. And I think writing at its best demands that level of reflection that we are increasingly having less and less of in our sort of modern 21st century era.
Thank you, Sarah, Clint, Alexis, and Christina, and all who join you in service. Your dedication to a better tomorrow, like so many other alumni, is essential to our world today. Alumni have been part of the commencement tradition since 1869. A core group of alumni volunteers, aptly named the Happy Observance of Commencement Committee, best known as the Happy Committee, you don't get any better than that, are seen throughout Harvard Yard from 6:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. on commencement day, wielding their batons. Among their many duties is overseeing the time-honored tradition of the Alumni Parade. The parade, most notably composed of our Harvard College alumni reunion attendees, is always a highlight of the day and a time-honored tradition. It is led by the Chief Marshal of Alumni, that's me, and our eldest alumni in attendance, that's not me. Together, today, I am happy to introduce our alumni commentators who will kick off the parade. Nancy Sensenbaugh, Harvard College class of 1976, who is celebrating her 45th reunion this week. She's also in the business school class of 1978. And William Horton, Harvard College class of 1977. Nancy and Bill, take it away.
Thank you, Anurima, for introducing us. I'm Nancy Sensenbaugh.
And I'm Bill Horton.
and welcome to the 2021 Harvard Alumni Association Annual Alumni Parade. Because of the pandemic, unfortunately last year we were unable to hold an annual meeting, so we are doubly pleased to be here with you today. The enchantment of this alumni parade brings together Harvard alumni from all schools, all classes, and from around the globe. And this is our very first virtual alumni parade, and we will be talking about this for decades to come. In particular, we welcome today our newest alumni from the college and graduate schools of the classes of 2020 and 2021. Bill, I'm so pleased to be with you here again today.
And Nancy, it's great to be with you. Usually we're providing our commentary from a perch stage left in Tercentenary Theater with a view much like the one you see beside me or behind me now. But this is just as exciting today. I'm really enthused that we're able to introduce the Alumni Parade for our fellow alumni around the world in a little different way. And I think this is part of the excitement and part of the enchantment of what we're able to do is provide this and help alumni feel the sense of the Alumni Parade. We would like to welcome the 14 reunion classes who are with us today, beginning with the great class of 1951, which is celebrating its, wait for it, 70th reunion this week. We're glad to have you all with us today. To our oldest alumni, they share an honored spot in the Alumni Parade, and they are well represented by the Crimson Society today. And the HAA Crimson Society is the organization of all Harvard College and Radcliffe College alumni starting the year after their 50th reunion.
Few people know that Harvard actually invented reunions. At the first commencement in 1642, the college deans invited the elders of the Massachusetts Bay Colony to come to celebrate with the graduates. And so the ministers, the politicians, the governor of the colony, as well as other significant people came to Cambridge in 1642 to celebrate the first commencement. The next year, 1643, the alumni who graduated in 1642 were invited, and they came to Cambridge for the first ever college reunion. And so all the college reunions across colleges and universities around the world have followed that tradition.
The Harvard Alumni Association has over 400,000 members from every state in the union and more than 180 countries worldwide. Students come to Harvard for a year, 2, or 7, depending on their degree program, and then they are alumni for the rest of their lives. As we say at the HAA, there are no dues and no escape from this global community of the Harvard alumni. While we mentioned today the many milestone reunions and reunion years for college graduates, we welcome all university graduates today to the ranks of Harvard alumni.
One of the great things about being a graduate of Harvard is there is literally a worldwide network of people for you to be involved with. And as we say, the sun never sets on Harvard.
Nancy, that's a beautiful top hat you're wearing today. And we see many of them in the photos of previous alumni parades. What's the significance of top hats on commencement day and for the alumni parade?
Well, Bill, you know, you and I are both members of the Happy Observance of Commencement Committee, otherwise known as the Happy Committee. And I have to say, when I first heard about the Happy Committee, I said, I have to be on any committee that's called Happy. It was started in 1869 to bring alumni back to commencement, but also to have alumni volunteers help with crowd control, with giving people directions, with making sure people knew where to go.
As the alumni parade draws to a close, Nancy, I feel it's the right time for an alumni parade tradition and for you to invoke the words of Seamus Haney, former Harvard Boylston professor of rhetoric and oratory, which he wrote for Harvard's 350th commencement in 1986.
Thank you, Bill. The poem is entitled John Harvard Walks the Yard. A spirit moved, John Harvard walked the yard. The atom lay unsplit, the west unwon. The book stood open and the gates unbarred. The maps dreamt on like moon dust. Nothing stirred. The future was a verb in hibernation. A spirit moved, John Harvard walked the yard. Before the classic style, before the clapboard, all through the small hours of an origin, the book stood open and the gate unbarred. Night passage of a migratory bird, wing flap, gown flap, like a homing pigeon. A spirit moved, John Harvard walked the yard. Was that his soul? Look, sped to its reward, by grace or works, a shooting star, an omen? The book stood open and the gate unbarred. Begin again where frosts and tests were hard. Find yourself or founder. Here, imagine, a spirit moves. John Harvard walks the yard. The books stand open and the gates unbarred.
Well, thank you, Nancy. I always appreciate hearing it, and especially hearing it with your voice. And with those insightful thoughts from Seamus Haney, we bid you farewell and thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you for joining us today for the pre-show to the 151st annual meeting of the Harvard Alumni Association. On behalf of the Harvard Alumni Association and your fellow alumni volunteers and members, thank you for all you do as members of the Harvard community.